What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more review videos from the Man City game. Obviously 3-2 at the Etihad. I was out of action yesterday because you can still hear my voice a bit hoarse from the game. But I'm excited for this one. What we're going to be doing today is Tottenham tactics. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at all 5 goals and reviewing them and tactically reviewing them and see where we go and delving deep into the tactical precisions of the goals and stuff like that. So
who needs an excuse to look at the goals?
Exactly.
No one needs
exactly.
Come on.
not that I haven't watched the highlights 10,000 times already.
We'll do another review tomorrow.
We'll be reviewing this game till the end of the season.
Exactly.
But yeah, let's get into it and let's start off with the first goal.
Yeah, and I think a theme of the first goal, which carried on throughout the game, was actually how much more comfortable we were playing out from the back, as we have been when we have the likes of Tanganga and the likes of Sanchez in the team. It's not as apparent in the first goal, but I'll go through it in the next goals. But playing out from the back was so. First of all, you got a Romero who plays a long ball over here to Davis. That was the first bit of good play that started off the first move. So obviously you got Davis here on the ball. Now at the moment he doesn't have many options, but as you can see, you got all this space for here for Man City, right, in their defence. They literally got no players in their half. Look, every single player is in the Tottenham Hotspur half. That's what I talk about when Man City playing with a lot of risk and Man City looking to press the ball and them leaving lots of space. And when you've got players like Son, it's always going to be that's always going to be something you can exploit. So at the moment, Kane's not really an option. There's Kane. There's Son over here being marked. They're both like quite heavily marked at the moment, but the movement is what makes the goal. So one sec. So going to look at the next clip. Here, Ben Davis is looking for the ball. All of a sudden, Son has moved away. He's dragged the defender with him. It's opened up a bit of space here for Kane, who's going to walk into it. And then what's going to happen is Laporte he's got a decision to make. Does he stay with it? Does he stick in his position? Or does he move with Harry Kane? He obviously decides to move Harry Kane, which is going to leave a massive bit of space here in behind Ruben Diaz. And that was one of the main reasons. So what Davis is going to play a long ball into Kane here. We'll go and then you'll see as the defender track him. 1 second. So there he is. The ball's played into Kane. Laporte follows him all the way in, and then Son has not just admired that the ball's gone into Kane. He knows exactly where the space is, which is right over there. Look at, I mean, it's hard to miss, isn't it? But the beauty of this goal is lesser players of Kane, lesser players. If Kane doesn't play this first time, it doesn't happen. Yeah. If Kane doesn't know exactly where Son is and plays that, not only first time, but with the weight of pass as well, because he knows Edison likes to rush out as well. So as soon as Davis plays that pass into Kane, Son's on the movement. But a lesser player than Harry Kane would take a touch, assess his options, and even maybe, because look, even maybe touch it inside here. And then you've got Kulu running in. You've got at the back, you've got Emerson overlapping as well. So lesser players maybe take a touch into the space here and just assess their options. That's what I think lesser players do. But Harry Kane, first time in behind. And I think you also say Ruben Diaz, probably compared to the rest of the defenders, maybe a bit too deep, because look at the rest of the back line. Yeah, he's the only player in his own half. He's not in his own half. Son's caught offside.
And in terms of what you're saying, the first time pass, I felt that was a clear instruction from Conte not to take too much time on the ball in this game, and we needed to be quick, decisive actions, because this was kind of a theme throughout the whole game, where when Spurs were attacking, no player was taking too much time on the ball, whereas in previous games, like against Wolves, like against Southampton, sometimes our player just takes a bit too long on the ball and get caught in possession quite a lot of times. And you could see it was a very clear action, a very clear instruction in this game. Be quick, be decisive, and get the ball in behind the defence. And that's exactly what happened quite a few times in the game.
Yeah, definitely. And Harry Kane was obviously helped. But funnily enough, with Harry Kane, most of the time, he did usually take a touch and then either spray out wide or look for the run of Son in behind. But that was like the early signs of that one moment was like the only time he was able to pull off a one-touch pass, and it was absolute perfection. Obviously, then Son's through on goal, as you can see here. He takes a good touch towards goal. Towards goal there. You got Kulu obviously in support there. He's Diaz is pretty much left for dead behind him. He's got way too much ground to make up. But interesting enough, in this situation here, if you're looking at it from this point of view, this is where Son's in on goal, and he actually takes a decent touch towards goal there. But you were thinking surely Son's going by himself. That is what you'd think, judging by that situation. He's in a good situation, perfect as well, cutting into his right foot where he likes to curl it into the far corner. You can see Ederson rushing out of his goal here. He's off his line. If we go to the next clip, in this situation here, this is the situation pretty much that I would say at this point, he doesn't shoot yet. But at this point, 9 times out of 10, Son would curl that into the far corner there. Yeah. He's got Ederson in pretty much where he wants him. He's got the goal completely open. He knows that he has the ability to curl it in into that far corner there. I feel like I'm playing score. What's it called? Yeah, so 9 times out of 10, he would finish that. And I don't know why he decides not to. Maybe he hesitated. Maybe he sees Kulusevski in the corner of his eye on the right-hand side that he would have an open goal. But the thing is, Kulu does have a player on him. So was it too risky? I think the point is, he doesn't shoot at this point. This is probably the point it was to shoot. He decides not to. Actually, by the time he passes it, he's here. And at this point, I think he is right to pass it, because I think the chance is gone here. You can't shoot from this position.
I think what happened was, the plan was for Son in his mind. I think when he was bearing down on goal, I thought the plan was to always shoot in his mind. But I think maybe he just let Ederson get a bit too close for him. And then at that point, he only had one option, to pass.
Yeah, at this point, he can't shoot because Ederson's way too close. Unless it's like a lob over him, he can't shoot. And then actually Kulu's created, I think Kulu probably a bit clever running, just dropped back a bit, doesn't continue his run, and obviously has an easy pass there to Kulu. That was probably the right decision at the time, although I was a bit surprised he didn't shoot when he was one-on-one before. And then Kulu...
Because that's like, those positions... before this clip was like Son's bread and butter, isn't it? Those are the moments where he's most strong, is the most comfortable in, and the most confident.
And he had space as well. He had time. He had space. It's not like he was rushing. Diaz was left for dead. Obviously, he was running back to try and stop him, but he was never going to catch him with Son, with the pace Son has. So 9 times out of 10, you're expecting Son in that position to shoot, but he must. I don't know if he hesitated or what, but yeah, once the good thing is he realized. I think the good thing is he wasn't married to the option of just shooting. I think a lot of players in those moments, they have what focus, and even if as this point he lets Ederson get too close to him, or maybe he was thinking, what the plan, maybe he was thinking he'll let Ederson get a bit close and then take it round him. But maybe once he did that, the touch was not as good for the second time, so then he decides to pass it. But once it gets to Kulu, this isn't the easiest of finishes because he's got 2 players there, and actually, it's not such a simple. It looks simple. Obviously, he's got an empty net, but he's very close, that defender. And unless he's going to get it in between Diaz and Laporte, it's going to be a very difficult finish. We can see here he has to get it through his legs to actually get the finish. And do you reckon he was aiming for his legs, or do you reckon it was a bit of luck?
It's difficult to say. I mean, by the way he took the shot, it did look like maybe he was aiming for it. But, you know, I'm not a professional footballer. But if I was in that position, I probably would have tried to dink it in the middle of them. But obviously,
in this position, you're looking to kind of dink it like in the middle there, curl it around
Either there or even go around the other way of Laporte.
True.
You could even go around the other way of Laporte. But look, obviously, he shoots it straight. It goes through Laporte's legs and it's 1-0 to Spurs. But I do think it was a bit risky trying that. But he got us goal.
Got us the goal, and that's how we took the lead, right through his legs, and Spurs are 1-up. Obviously, we're withstanding pressure from this point on, and now let's look at the equalizer. So, Man City have the ball over here with Laporte. Just get that up. So Man City have the ball, Laporte over here. You got Bentancur here. He's looking at Laporte. You've got Kulusevski. Sorry, you've got Kulu here, who's looking at out wide. I think that's Cancelo on the wing back, out wide. And then you've got Emerson tucked in as the right wing back or de facto right back, and he's got Sterling over there. So everyone's pretty much got their men as the move starts. As you scroll it along, as Rodri, the ball falls to Rodri. As you see, Bentancur goes to confront him. Sterling drops a bit deep, but the thing is, Emerson doesn't go with him. Emerson decides to hold his position, as to where he is. One sec. Emerson decides to hold his position. Kulu then switches over. So Kulu sticks with his wing back Cancelo on the wing, on the position there. And so as Bentancur goes to confront Rodri, so here's Bentancur. As he goes to confront Rodri, Sterling drops, Cancelo stays out wide, Kulu's got him. So in this position, I don't know whether it was instruction, should Emerson be going with him? I would think maybe what would probably be best is Kulu drops with Sterling and Emerson maybe takes over for Cancelo. But does that disrupt the defence too much? I'm not sure. They both hold their position. Maybe it was instruction to kind of not step out of defence too much. So that's what happens.
I think that was an instruction. There was a clear instruction in possession and out of possession. And out of possession, I think we were more or less playing like 7 at the back or something.
Yeah.
In possession, with Kane dropping into midfield, Kulusevski and Son dropping in as the kind of wing backs. But then in possession, obviously it was more of a 3-4-3. But I think that kind of defensive positioning, I think that was actually more of an instruction than it was Emerson off the cuff.
Yeah. So then if you roll it on. As Bentancur's got very close to Rodri, but then Sterling's dropped all the way deep, as you can see. So Sterling's now free in around the penalty area to get a free cross. It doesn't actually go to him. It goes to the ball. Now is going to go to Cancelo, and he's going to lay. And what's going to happen is Rodri is going to make an overlapping run, drawing Emerson, and Sterling's going to keep his position. And then he's got a free cross on him. So a bit of maybe, I don't know if there was a bit of confusion, as you can see. So it goes to Cancelo. There's Rodri making the overlapping run, drawing Bentancur. Bentancur goes with him instead of holding his position. And then Sterling is left free on just in this position to whip the ball in, with Emerson Emerson's here, maybe too worried about Cancelo. Maybe he's worried he's going to hit the byline and get the overlapping run. The problem is we've got 3 players here marking 2. So maybe, I don't know where it was an instruction, maybe we wanted a 3-man defending just in case of crossing the box or something. But you got Kulu going over to Cancelo, you got Bentancur with following the overlapping run from Rodri.
Well, you've got 3 players surrounding 1 player over there.
No, there's 2. It's hard to see. There's actually 2. There's Cancelo out wide. There's Rodri. Bentancur's following Rodri on the overlapping run, and then Emerson's not marking anyone because he had Sterling, but Sterling's dropped all the way deep and he hasn't followed him. So that's the problem. I guess that's created. Obviously, so Cancelo sees that. He quickly pops it off to Sterling, and Sterling has time and space to get the cross in because Bentancur followed Rodri. Maybe Bentancur should have kept his position. Maybe that was the problem and trusted Emerson to follow the run from Rodri. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it's interesting, that shape, because I mean, from that position on the pitch right there, you're seeing a bit of an overload from Man City on this side of the pitch, aren't you?
Yeah.
And it does look like a dangerous situation. And with the way Man City attack, they're just laying traps, running, trying to drift the Spurs defenders out of position the whole time. And then we'll see what happens in the next clip.
Yeah. So Sterling's obviously got the cross in. As you can see, De Bruyne is actually running on, a bit like Harry Kane for the second goal, which we'll go in a sec. He's running on the blind side of Eric Dyer here. Dyer's looking drawn to the ball. Son doesn't track De Bruyne. De Bruyne is going to run in between the two. Ben Davis is worried about Bernardo Silva. Dyer's worried about Dyer. Dyer's worried about Gundogan here. So De Bruyne is able to just run in on the blind side of both, in between both of those defenders. As Sterling is here, he's going to whip the ball in that way. And then De Bruyne nearly gets on the end of it. And obviously Hugo spills it. And
it's an interesting one with Hugo, isn't it? Because it was like the opposite of what happened last week.
Yeah.
Like last week, he should have caught it and he went to punch it. This one, he really should have caught it. And I don't know if he went to try and catch it and it just rebounded off his body, or did he try and punch it? I'm not too sure.
I think I'll show you what he tried to do. But here, I think Romero at this point is thinking too much about Hugo collecting. I think he thinks Hugo's just going to collect the ball. That's why I think he might switch off, because Gundogan's there, pulled off in space. No one's marking him. And I think Romero, as you can see, it's hard to see, but I think he's pretty much ball watching. He's staring at the ball. He's thinking Hugo's got this, basically.
Yeah.
Because before, the clip before, he's there at this position. He's actually not marking anyone. He's waiting for the cross. Anyway, falls to Gundogan. He puts it in the back of the net, and it's 1-1. And then I've got a screenshot here. I think I've got a screenshot here. It's difficult to see, but this is the ball just before Hugo tries to claim it.
Mm-hmm.
He's got two hands. What he's doing is he's trying to take it into his body. But I think from this position, I think either, I'm not sure if he's distracted by De Bruyne nearly licking the ball, which maybe takes it off him. I think 9 times out of 10 he would take that kind of ball into his body. But as you can see from this position, he's got two hands there. He could punch it if he really needed to. And I think he decides to try and take it into his body like that instead of punching it when he had an opportunity. And maybe that was the mistake. Maybe he should have just punched it out wide.
In that specific clip, it looks like his fists are clenched, that he's ready to punch it.
Yeah, but we can see that he tries to take it in.
Yeah, which is
That's what he does.
So
He
you
should have punched
think
it.
he tried to take it in and then he got
Spilled it.
distracted and spilt it?
Yeah, that's what I think happened.
Interesting.
So, and that's the mistake, and obviously makes it 1-1. And that was a pivotal moment in the game because we were holding strong. I know Gundogan hit the post, but they weren't really.
But that was the first time that they had a real chance inside our 6-yard box. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Inside our penalty area, because it was right on the penalty spot he scored. And that made it 1-1. Looking again at the, this is the second goal that Tottenham scored. Here's Harry Kane. This is again, by the way, I didn't have the full clip, but this does again start from the back. Again, it's built up from Romero. So again, Tottenham building up passages of play, even though we didn't have a lot of the ball and we did get it, we were able to show it. But what's crucial here is obviously he's looking for that ball in behind to Sonny there. Son's obviously going to make the run on Kyle Walker. But you have to focus on the guy right at the far top corner, Sessegnon. Because if Sessegnon, right there, if he's not following the play, I don't know if this goal happens. And this is definitely a consequence of him helping out the forward line, because I'll show you why. Because Kane does play the ball, but the ball's not good enough, and Diaz wins the header. And he heads it away.
Mm-hmm.
One sec. He heads it away into this space here, and off screen is Sessegnon running in. And if he's not running in, Diaz or Walker will pick up that loose ball, and City just get possession. But because Sessegnon is running in and helping and being left winger, being at left wing back and being an option as a left winger, he's the one who picks it up instead of one of the City players. And even though it's just a simple task to pick the ball up and lay it off to Son, that's exactly, he was there to do it, and that was very, very important. Important part of the goal.
The thing is with Sessegnon, for pretty much the whole game, I mean, we were at the game and we kind of agreed after the game that Sessegnon was probably our weakest link. And yeah, he probably was, but the tireless effort that he put in this game, up and down the whole game, he put in such a shift for the team, Sessegnon. I think the stat was that he ran the most amount on the pitch or something like that, or in the top 2 at least. So I think that Sessegnon has to come in for a lot of credit for this game.
Yeah, and also big credit for Sessegnon because it's 2 games now he's come in against Liverpool and against City. Very difficult opponents to come into, especially when you're not playing regularly and haven't seen a lot of game time, and you're still fairly young. And he's done pretty well in both games, and he's done definitely a good job for the team, and it's been 2 of our best performances of the season.
And it's also on the back of coming off after 20 minutes in a game where his confidence would have taken a massive battering. To come back and to respond like that, you got to give him massive credit.
And the Liverpool game was off the back of him getting sent off against Mura, so he's responded well to setbacks, which is good. Anyway, so he's there. Roll it on. He lays it off to Son. He picks it up. Now, at this point, I think all the City players are getting ready for him to shoot. They're not, because again, perfect position for Sonny to get a shot off. This is where he likes it, cutting inside, and you can see 3 defenders around him. They're all drawn to the ball because they know if they allow Son to cut inside and shoot, he's got a lethal shot on from 25 yards. But what they don't see is right at the back here, Harry Kane. Laporte is, I don't know if he's switched off. Laporte isn't looking at him. Rodri, Diaz and Walker all on the far side. They're all drawn to the ball because Son is the danger man. Obviously, Sessegnon's also there causing a bit of havoc.
Who's his closest one to him? Is that Cancelo?
That's Cancelo there. Cancelo is marking Kulusevski, and there's Laporte here. This is Laporte. He's not. He's just not aware of him because back turned. Kane was the one who played the ball to Son, so maybe because he was so deep, he's kind of forgot about him. That's also a beauty of Kane playing deep, is he can make these late runs into the box unnoticed, which makes it a lot harder for defenders to pick him up. So Son, at this point, I think he's thinking about shooting up until he sees the 3 defenders around him. Roll it on. Then he gets his head up. He sees there's 3 defenders. It's hard to get away from Kyle Walker. Look at Harry Kane. He's calling for it. He knows that Laporte's completely eyes on the ball. He's looking at the ball. Kane's got his hand up here. He's going to break into that space. Son sees him. Son notices him. And instead of thinking of the shot, he also has a pass potentially here to Højbjerg if he really wanted. He was potentially breaking space. And not just that. He knows if Cancelo, because Cancelo can see him. Cancelo can see Kane, and if Cancelo goes to him, he knows Kulu has got a free run there. So he's kind of holding his position as well. He doesn't want. I don't know whether it's communication. He needs to be shouting at Laporte, saying behind you. Yeah. There's no shout. There's no communication. Laporte is drawn to the ball, and then as we can see, by the time Son is ready to cross it, Kane's already on the move and he's pretty much free. And he was never catching him by the time Son was ready to cross. And you got to say it's a pinpoint cross from him with Son right into that area. It was perfect.
The way I described the Tottenham performance against Man City was clinical precision. And that's exactly what it was, from our crossing, from our passing, from our one-touch play out the back. I mean, everything to do with this Tottenham win was clinical precision.
But as you can see here, actually as well, talking about Cancelo, as we said, Cancelo's the one who can see him.
And he comes over at the end.
He does come over, but he can't do it with full conviction because he knows if he does it if he gets into because where he should be really, Cancelo, to stop Kane is he needs to be running into that area there. He really needs to be stopping him. He needs to be here to head it away. He knows that's where the danger is. But he knows if he's there, Kulu's right
so
behind
in the end,
him.
He was stuck in no man's land.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of how we counterattack. As you can see, we've got 5 men there in the forward line, up against I think it's 6 defenders. But we've got a 2v1 at the back post, and that was the crucial thing. Jakulu there being an option makes Cancelo think, and he can't fully commit to stopping Kane, and that's why Kane gets a free run, which was very positive.
And then obviously Harry Kane finishes like Harry Kane does.
And look where he gets it. Cancelo can't get there in time, and obviously he's going to finish it right into the top corner. It's a great finish.
More clinical precision right in the top corner from Harry Kane.
But if you actually see as well on the full replay, when the ball comes in, I don't know if you noticed, but Cancelo does this, like as if like just let it go through to the keeper kind of thing. So Son's put the forward, and he's like just got kind of, he doesn't fully do it because he turns very quickly and sees Kane's there. He's like, oh shit! But he starts to go like that, like all right, let it go through to the keeper, and then once he turns, he's like, oh shit! He doesn't realise Kane's there at all because Kane's gone in his blind side, and that only happens because Kane starts to move from deep and it makes a late run.
Yeah,
and that's how that was possible.
Brilliant movement by Harry Kane. Yeah, it really was.
Pinpoint from Son
absolute
as well.
World class pinpoint from Sonny, and yeah, let's move on to the next goal. Is it the offside goal, the next goal?
Oh, I haven't looked at the offside goal, to be honest. Fine. But if we were just looking at the penalty, I'm not going to look, it was a penalty. It was a handball by Romero. I'm going to analyse why Bernardo Silva was completely free at the back post to get that shot away. If you can see, as the move starts, Sterling has the ball at the back. As you can see, you got Doherty at the back post. He's marking Bernardo Silva. Romero has got his eyes glued on Gundogan, and you got Eric Dyer, who should really be at Laporte. So there's a 3-on-3 at the back post there. Everyone's got their men. Romero, has to be tucking into Gundogan. And Dyer should have Laporte. So everyone's pretty much got their men. It should be fine once Sterling has the ball. But once the ball gets laid off to De Bruyne, one sec, yeah. So De Bruyne has the ball here. All of a sudden, players still have their men, but Doherty gets drawn to Gundogan and leaves Bernardo at the back post. You will see in a sec. So at the moment, it's fine. Like Romero, I think maybe Romero as well loses concentration because you see Gundogan's on the move, but Romero's still standing still. He's not on his toes. De Bruyne is about to whip the ball all the way to the back post there. That's what's about to happen. And as you can see, as the ball gets whipped in, Doherty's the one that's gone over to Gundogan. He's left Bernardo Silva completely free at the back post. He's gone over to Gundogan to win the header. To be fair, it's a brilliant cross from De Bruyne, and it goes over Romero's head. I think Romero maybe tries to header the ball, and Doherty realises that, so Gundogan's about to win the header, so he has to go over to him, and that leaves Bernardo Silva completely free. But why Romero has stepped up a bit too much? Why isn't he sticking on Gundogan? I'm not sure.
So we're saying 2 goals we've conceded, the first 2 goals we've analysed. I mean, Romero has been a bit at fault for both of them.
He switched off a bit in the penalty area. I think this one he might be at fault for being a bit too proactive in a way, because he's got Gundogan, but then he sees the cross come in and he's too drawn to it, and he goes to win the header. It goes over him, and then Doherty's the one who has to kind of win the header for him and leave his man. But obviously Bernardo goes. Wins at the back post, and actually that's probably what causes a bit of panic in Romero, maybe realising that he left his man, and obviously he goes diving in, and then he puts his hand. We can't really see it. He puts his hand out, and there you go. He puts his hand out, and the penalty's given.
So yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were saying it was harsh. But on first viewing, I thought it was harsh because I thought it deflected back off his leg into his arm, but it didn't. It just went straight to his arm. I'm not really sure what he's doing with his arm up in the air like that.
Yeah, it shouldn't be there. Although it's hard to dive in with your hands behind your back, I guess. Yeah. But it shouldn't be there, I guess. It's difficult. That's always going to be given, isn't it? So
definitely.
It's a penalty, and maybe he was trying to make up for his own mistake in a way, and maybe that caused it. But yeah, You got to say that has to be a penalty. And obviously,
Saying
they
two
scored from it.
goals at Romero's fault.
I wouldn't say they're his fault, but he's just thinks
he had his hand in it.
He had his hand in
that's
it.
for sure. And
mean,
we're talking about Romero having like a world-class game yesterday as well.
He did, because he did so much good. He did, but for the first goal, maybe he's caught on his heels because he thinks Lloris is going to pick up the ball, and he doesn't notice Gundogan's completely free, and Lloris spills it. Second one, he maybe gets drawn to the ball a bit too much when he lets go of Gundogan and forces Doherty to go over to Gundogan and win the header. So, yeah, those are things maybe he should be watching out for.
Definitely. And then there's
then there's the goal, the winner. So we go over to it. This beautifully, again, this is what I mean by playing from the back. So and this is what difference it makes when you've got players who are comfortable, like Dyer and Romero in possession rather than Sanchez in the ball. These are the kind of moves
you go into it, I mean, like
happen.
for an example, when you're talking about that, you're talking about when we have Romero in the middle, Sanchez on the right, and Davis on the left. How many times did moves break down just playing out from the back?
Countless.
How many times?
Just bad passes or loose touches, or Sanchez panicking on the ball when he's being pressed. These guys are have so much more composure, a lot more comfortable on the ball, and then all of a sudden we're able to build moves from the back. And this is we're able even to do it in the stoppage time when drawing at the Etihad, when we've just conceded in stoppage time. Even then, we're still able to build a move from the back. So you got Dyer. He's about to play a move out, the ball out wide to Romero. They're about to start the move. Romero picks it up. He then plays. See, this is the beauty of having someone like Romero. Someone like Sanchez, someone like Sanchez probably picks up the ball and plays it back out wide there. He does probably. Someone like Sanchez probably doesn't play the risky pass down the line into Kulu like Romero does here. So Romero's picked. He's also got obviously option centre, but he plays the ball. Or someone like Sanchez as well probably panics and maybe hoofs it long to people calling for the ball at the back post there. You can see. Maybe that's something someone like Sanchez would do. But Romero has the composure, looks down the line, plays it to Kulu. He's calling for it. And then if you go back there quickly. This is Cancelo here. He's following Kulu, as opposed to sticking to his position like Emerson was in the first half. He follows Kulu, which actually creates the space, which we'll see in a minute. So he passes down the line to Kulu. Kulu beats him to it and he's about to lay the ball off out. Kulu beats him to it, lays the ball out wide to Doherty, who's off screen right now. Doherty picks it up at the back. He plays it back to Romero, who's over there. He plays it back to Romero there. Which is again being an option inside the City half. And Romero picks it up, plays a lovely pass inside to Bentancur. Inside to Bentancur here. And the crucial thing is because Cancelo. One sec, get it full up. The crucial thing is because Cancelo has tracked Kulu and lost the ball, and Kulu beat him to it. Kulu's now over here on his bike, completely free. Cancelo is in the middle of the pitch, trying to get back into position, and it leaves all this space on the right-hand side for Kulu to run into. That's what Bentancur notices, and that's why when Romero plays this ball, he doesn't just take a touch or play it back to Romero or play it back to he could have played it back to Dyer there. He actually notices Kulu has got all this space, and he plays a beautiful first time pass over to him into all that space. He picks it up and just plays a beautiful pass over into that space because he notices Cancelo is completely out of position. That was what's obviously played the ball into space. As you can see, he notices it, plays it there. City are out of possession. Kulu picks it up, and you've got at the moment, you look inside the penalty area. once Kulu has the ball. You have Diaz marking Kane. You got Lucas at the back post, inside the penalty area. But so that's when Kulu's here. But once Kulu is about to cross the ball, you got Walker on Lucas. You got Diaz on Kane. But once Kulu is ready to cross the ball, here, it's switched. Lucas has stepped forward, and all of a sudden, Kane's gone to the back post. So very quickly, in that little movement, that Kulu cuts inside. Maybe that's telegraphed, but Lucas has moved to the front. Kane's gone to the back.
And then Walker's ended up with Kane.
Exactly. And even here, I would say that once the ball comes in, City are in a fairly good, decent defensive position here. You've got 3-on-2 at the back post, technically, once Kulu crosses that in. Although, if that ball goes to the front post, Lucas could have had a good chance. But the ball's floated to the back post. And even here, you could argue, once the ball's floated mid-air, Walker should probably still be favourite for that ball.
That's what I was saying. This actual Harry Kane winning this ball against Kyle Walker is very underrated, because he'd done so well to lead. He basically used so much force and manpower to get past Kyle Walker and get that ball in the back of the net. It was actually so underrated from Harry Kane.
Yeah, and then as you say, he should really be second favourite. Maybe a more dominant centre back. Maybe if it was Diaz or Laporte in that position, he doesn't win it. But maybe he's done something clever to peel off to Walker at the back post, and he steps in front of Walker. He's the one who determined to win it first, and obviously he puts it in the back of the net, and that was the winner. And it was actually a really good, and actually it was a beautiful move. It was actually a really good move, built from the back, creating space in the wide areas, really good movement from Kulu to cut inside, and determination from Kane in the box to get it into the back of the net. So and that was also all in stoppage time.
And that was when I was talking about the tactical precision and the quick passing and not taking too much time on the ball. When we had our most dangerous chances of the game, and the offside goal included in this. What a move that was, by the way, for the offside goal. One touch passing all the way to the goal. And that happened quite a few times. And when we looked most dangerous going forward against Man City, that's what we were doing. We're using tactical precision, clinical passing, clinical finishing, clinical crossing. I mean, we were doing everything that we haven't been doing in the previous 2 or 3 games in this game. And that's why we won this game.
Exactly. And everyone's, even Pep said, it's just counter-attacks. They just had a few counter-attacks. But that last goal wasn't a counter-attack. It was us in possession, building up a move from the back, creating space and creating a chance and exploiting it. And it was, and even the first goal as well. It wasn't it was a quick transition, but that started from our goal kick, the first goal.
Yeah.
Romero playing out wide to Davis, and obviously they're pressing up City, but it wasn't a counter attack. That was us just creating something from building from the back. And so that was how we won the game, and I think it was really, really impressive. We did so well to get, obviously, the things to improve on with the goals we conceded, but the goals we scored were a joy to watch.
And you're talking about when Conte first came in here, he said the first thing that he wants to improve on is the fitness of these players, right? Because for one reason or another, the fitness deteriorated in this squad after Pochettino. And what was a big hallmark of the Pochettino side? Coming back, never say die attitude, winning these games late on, happened time and time again under Pochettino. Under Mourinho and under maybe Nuno, it was the complete opposite, where the fitness wasn't great. We were losing games in the last 5-10 minutes. Now, since Conte has come in, we're starting to see that never say die attitude again. Against Watford, Davinson Sanchez, the 96th minute. Against Leicester, Steven Bergwijn, 2 goals in stoppage time. And now this game as well, a winner in stoppage time. And now are we seeing that fitness come back to Spurs now?
I hope so. I mean, look, as I've always said, different games call for different tests. I think City in this game, they played how we expected them and probably wanted them to play, and that's what we exploited. We had a plan for them. But other games are going to be different. Wolves sat back. They said, you break us down, and we struggled more in that game. So we have to be careful about obviously I'm delighted with the win and the performance and everything, but different games give different problems, and we solved the problem for this game, but we have to make sure against Burnley, which is going to be a completely different kind of game, that we have to make sure that we've solved the problem that game's going to bring as well. And if we keep doing that consistently, then I'm going to be back saying, yeah, look, we're going in the right. Well, I think we are going in the right direction anyway, but I think we need to be careful to go over the top with this victory.
Something else that's very key for us staying on track and potentially finishing in the top 4 is having these key players ready to fight from now until the end of the season, because there are way too many players in that team that played yesterday. If any of them get injured, we're screwed. If Dyer gets injured, we're screwed. If Romero gets injured, we're screwed. If Davis gets injured, we might be screwed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Emerson's already out, so we're going to have to... Well, we don't know if he's out, but he went off injured. Have to see how that's going to affect us. I mean, Reguilon being out didn't really affect us that much. I think Sessegnon played a good game. I think if any of the players in the middle of the park, if Højbjerg or Bentancur get injured, that could screw us quite heavily. And then obviously the front line is the front line. Harry Kane will be completely detrimental. Heung-min Son the same. So... that's very key for me. If any of these players, if just one of those players get injured, it can disrupt the whole thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And that's why we're very reliant on injuries. But let's hope that we can get a bit of luck. We can stay really injury-free. And hopefully that can, because other teams are all as well. Arsenal are very heavily reliant on certain players staying fit. And they also need some luck. So hopefully we can get to the end of the season with these players still fit, and they can fire us into the top 4. And I think if they do stay fit, we've got a good chance.
I know, but how my heart was going crazy at the end of that last 10 minutes of that game, because everyone was going down. Emerson was hobbling.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Harry Kane was hobbling.
It was a big effort.
Everyone was going down,
Everyone was in the walls, weren't they?
Yeah, and you could just see, just by that, every single player put on such a shift on the weekend. And it's night and day to what we saw in the last couple of games. And the last couple of games, Winks and Sanchez, you would say, weren't good enough in terms of the system and what we were trying to do with the ball. Now we had Bentancur and Højbjerg there. Højbjerg, by the way, was absolutely sensational in this game. Night and day to his performance against Southampton, that's for sure. So, look, we need to keep these players fit, and we need... I think Sanchez and Winks can do a job in a one-off game, but when you ask them to play regularly, that's when it becomes an issue.
And the mistakes creep in. They can't keep up, can they? And that's what we've seen over the last 2 games, and it's what a difference having Romero in and Bentancur, that calmness, composure, ability on the ball. It's just completely difference to what we had when they're not playing. So looking forward to more of it. Looking forward to Wednesday now, and let's push on.
All right, well, that is our tactical analysis of the goals, all 5 goals in the game yesterday, and an amazing 3-2 win against Manchester City. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.